Last night, Sean McVay's team lost to the Eagles with Jared Goff struggling for the third game in a row. So how broken are the Rams right now?
I mean, are they broken, right? As we are getting fuego with these takes,
yes.
Right? Are they broken? I don't know if I would go that far. What they are, probably not as good as we thought they were maybe 6 weeks ago. That was probably impossible to sustain, but I feel like we can do a better job now of isolating what is good and not good about this team. And the truth is, they got a quarterback that you can scheme up to being good. And McVay has done a great job since he got there of building around Todd Gurley and scheming Jared Goff up. Now, as we've gone a little farther in the year, teams catch up a little bit. They figure out a few more things. And now, what are they going to do at quarterback? Because he's their guy, but he's not that good. I ain't saying he's bad. He's just this dude right here who is falling down. Get up. Okay. He's that dude.
Over the last 3 weeks, no one has had a worse passer rating in the entire NFL than the one-time MVP contender, Jared Goff. And before this game, by the way, when Carson Wentz goes down and Large Bard Sarge is on deck for this team, Vegas changed the odds. They were a 7.5 underdog to a 13.5 underdog. And what we all have to reckon with, Bo, is what you said. It's December. Defenses figure stuff out right around now. And after this game, Goff was saying that teams are doing different stuff to them. Andrew Whitworth, their excellent offensive lineman, was saying that now is the time for us to adjust because he's seen winning teams fall apart in December. It's not all falling apart right now, but that is a team, by the way, that could use home field advantage as it makes its way through the postseason.
Yeah, now the one bright side for them is that if they don't get home field advantage, the only place they'd probably wind up going on the road would be New Orleans, and at least that is climate control.
True.
Now, what you do also have to worry about with this team is they don't stop the run well. Like, they went into that game giving up something like 5 yards per carry. That's a problem. Like, that's an issue, especially if your game is we're going to score a lot of points on people. You need the ball in order to do that. Now, with defense, at least what we saw, especially in the Bears game, not as much in this last game, but definitely with the Bears game, if you were able to stop the Rams from running, everything is predicated off their ability to run. The Rams didn't try to run nearly as much in that game, which means that people are looking at it like, oh, so Jared Goff is going to be the guy to do this. You say Todd Gurley is going to be the guy to do this. Okay, we got to worry a little bit. You say Jared Goff's going to be the guy to do this, and you say, well, at least he ain't Todd Gurley.
Well, Todd Gurley left the game, came back to the game, and after the game, he was asked, are you healthy? And he said, well, I returned, so I'm healthy, which seems to me like the classic football non-answer that indicates maybe, just maybe, the most important player on that team is not 100%, and that is a disastrous outcome from this game more than anything else, including the loss.
The bright side, they're still in a good position to get a bye, right? They get a bye. I don't think anything is more valuable for this postseason, any postseason in football, having that week where you don't have to do anything but physically recover.
Yes, and recovery is what the doctor has ordered for a struggling team like that.
All right, next name's the Patriots. New England struggled again offensively yesterday, scoring 10 points in a loss to the Steelers. How worried should Patriots fans be about the version of Tom Brady they saw yesterday?
They should have their fingers hovering over the sell button if they are a Tom Brady stockholder. And I know we've said this before. I know that, but Bo, last week, the Miami Miracle, that was humiliating. We all know this. But this was almost more profoundly humiliating in a more substantive sense. They just looked like a team that is bad. Tom Brady, he had this drive at the end where Tom Brady is supposed to arrive, and Tom Brady instead is looking like Blake Bortles. This is a team that looks old suddenly. Tom Brady's flinging passes that are getting picked off, which we don't see very often, and Rob Gronkowski, the other most valuable offensive weapon they have. What has happened to him, by the way?
He's gotten old.
Because that all seems to have happened right now.
Yeah, no, but I mean, we talked about this going into this year, about him considering retirement and everything else. I mean, you kind of forget here, this is Gronk's, 9th year in the league? Like, this, I mean, it's not shocking that he would start to experience a physical decline at this point. Now, I won't go as far as to say they looked bad here. They were within 7, had a chance to win the game at the end.
Sure.
But Tom Brady has not been excellent this year. He has certainly been good. He has not been excellent. And when this keeps going, man, he's old man in the cold. And old men in the cold are a dangerous game. Remember this about the Patriots. Man, Florida James can put a number on a card. They're 2-4 on the road in the postseason since 2009. That's it. Now, this team is not going to get the bye. It means get the home field advantage in the AFC. That's not going to happen.
Nor a bye.
They're going to have to go somewhere. The last time they won a road playoff game was that crazy one in San Diego in January of 2007 where the Chargers had it and then fumbled the interception, and then the Patriots went there and won it. They are dominant at home. If they got to take this thing on the road, they're probably not going to the Super Bowl.
No, they are bad relative to Patriots standards. And 2009, you mentioned Gronk entering the league about 9 years ago. 2009 is the last time, the only other time we saw under Brady and Belichick a losing record on the road. And it is worth noting, the Green Bay Packers in 2010 are the only Super Bowl champion to emerge with that kind of a resume since 2009. I mean, they're not going to have a bye. They're looking. Bo, if you're a Patriots fan, is it time to worry? I feel like it officially is at the very least that.
I mean, maybe, right? Because I would never worry if I were a Patriots fan. I would never, ever worry.
You're holding your stock?
You've been given enough reason being with this team to not worry. If you got to bet on your squad or the field, if you're a Patriots fan, you're always going to bet on your squad. The thing about the Patriots, though, is they're kind of like Alabama in this regard in college football. We often have a difficult time talking about the individual pluses and minuses of an Alabama team because they're nameless, they're faceless. It's just the same ruthless killing machine that goes out here every time. The Patriots are the same way. Like when you start trying, you got enough names that you remember where you're like, okay, that's Brady. Oh, that's Edelman. Oh, that's whoever. You know who those guys are. But this is not a team of the caliber of the ones that we have seen in previous years. If I'm not mistaken, these 5 losses, the first 5-loss season that they've had since Tom Brady's ACL injury.
Ooh, and they're giving up over 6 yards per carry now to 3 straight opponents. They cannot stop the run. Look, 2009, to go back to that was 9 years ago. Tom Brady was 32. Now he is 41. In some sense, they are regressing to humanity, as we all must at some point. But our last name, Lamar Jackson. After running for 95 yards in a win against Tampa yesterday, Lamar Jackson is now averaging 17.2 rushing attempts per start. The Ravens currently hold the final wild card spot. But can Baltimore really keep winning like that?
You almost call him Jamal.
I almost did call him a Lewis. By the way, Jamal Lewis.
Not even Lamar. You almost made him Jamal Lewis from Lamar Jackson?
Please continue.
How am I supposed to continue?
My Rainbow Coalition is supposed to survive this, and you're hurting me.
Let me look at the screen so I can even remember what the question was. No, they cannot keep winning with him running 17
times
a game. Because he cannot run 17 times a game. You know who could run 17 times a game? Jamal Lewis. He was a guy that was capable. Do you have to change your answer now that you know that we're not talking about Jamal Lewis?
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit.
No. To win in the postseason, they're going to have to be able to throw the ball down the field. Like, for all the flaws that Flacco had, the reason he could be a Super Bowl MVP that year is that they need to get it down the field. They could. Never mind the potential physical toll of running the ball 17 times. He's got to be a better passer. And I think that down the line, he may be a good one. I don't see a good one right now.
No, historically, he has not been a good passer. In high school, he didn't crack 50%. In college, he didn't crack 60%. He's under 60% right now. And you have to go way back, Bo, to another name, a different name, Joe Gary, if you know who that is. He is a random dude to most people, but in 1950, he was the last guy to run the ball 14 plus times, 4 separate times in an NFL season as a quarterback, except he was one of those single wing tailbacks who also punted and kicked, all of which is to say that Lamar Jackson, this man is an extreme outlier. The Ravens are currently doing the 2-to-1 run-to-pass ratio, and I think it's because they're facing these defenses with soft rushing defenses. This is now the 5th team of the bottom 6 that they've played, and by the way, they have had a good 5-game run as a result.
But do you think that they can pass the ball better and are simply choosing not to because of the opponent? Because I think that what you point out is a coincidence. Like, they may look at it and be like, okay, yeah, we're able to run the ball, but there's no NFL offensive coordinator in 2018 that is voluntarily running the offense they have right now unless they believe that there's some limitation in the quarterback they have. That was another game he just had, by the way, fewer than 6 yards per attempt in that game.
Yep, that's right.
Their weakness is here in his ability to pass. I don't even care that much about the completion percentage, but if you're only going to complete the number of passes that he is, we got to have some big play element here, and that doesn't seem to be there in that way.
They're doing ball control right now, but the playoffs, obviously a difference.
They also do have a great defense. Coming up next, find out what former Packer, how many moving parts that we see that go on in this. And I don't know what will happen when someone who is not Joe Philbin or Mike McCarthy is calling the plays.
Right. One moving part, by the way, his groin, which was injured at some point during that game. Worrisome. Next quote. I ain't worried about nobody but myself, said Jalen Ramsey after Sunday's 16-13 loss to Washington when asked if he was worried about head coach Doug Marrone's job security. So, Bo, what did you read into that?
Well, first of all, would you care about Doug Marrone's job security? One way or another. If you're Jalen Ramsey and you're on a squad that's won 9 out of 10 games, how much would you
Lost
care?
9 out of 10.
Lost, yes. Big distinction. How much would you care?
I would not care at all.
Right. Now, I saw a couple of interesting quotes over the weekend. There was another guy, I think, that was on this team that said, I'm worried about everybody out here. Then I saw DeMar Dotson of Tampa. They asked him about what's going on. These teams that are not in the playoffs anymore.
Right.
And he's like, everybody's got to worry about themselves. I'm not worried about my coach's job. I'm worried about my job. That's how it goes when you get to this point in the season. But hey, man, you saw what he said the other day, right? Where he was like, if they really meant what they said about not wanting to trade me, it's time to work on an extension. What happens if they don't start working on an extension?
Yeah, Jalen Ramsey wants to be at the negotiating table 1 to 2 years before this stuff usually happens because it seems pretty clear he doesn't think those rumors are just rumors. There may be a grain of truth in that, but it also is clear, Bo, after watching this game and watching Leonard Fournette get how many carries in the second half? One carry in the second half, that this team is also tanking. They're tanking, and by the way, Doug Marrone, don't feel good about your job either.
No, would you want to play for a team where it's fair to ask whether they actually want to win? Because the fact that they brought Blake Bortles out here tells me that they didn't really want to win. Quote, Jennifer Marie Roth, would you love to be Jennifer Marie Leno Jr., will you? You accept? Said Bears left tackle Charles Leno Jr. to his now fiance after Chicago beat the Packers. Let us watch.
I don't think that's how names work.
He did it in front of people. I don't think. Wow, that's a pretty impressive geological specimen.
Is that a Tiffany's colored box?
Dang, twinkled and glistened.
It really did.
Will you love to be Jennifer Marie Leno Jr.? Will you? You accept? You accept? I love you, baby.
Wow, she is dedicated wearing that number 72.
Oh, that thing on, girl. Absolutely.
That thing on, girl. Her parents are loving this. Now,
yeah, that's joyous, right?
Yeah,
that's beautiful, right?
I hate public proposals. I'm so down on public proposals. Like, I'm glad this thing worked out under these circumstances. I want to know where he was keeping the ring the whole time.
He refused to say after the game, which makes me think it was somewhere very reckless.
It sounds like he didn't think that part out. Like, he was like, okay, I'm going to do it if we win. And then he's like, damn, where am I going to put the ring?
Right.
And the sideline is not overrun with places that you can keep a Tiffany's ring.
Yeah, as always, when it comes to the public proposals, I hope that they know their wife to be well enough such that they know this is going to go well because the public spectacle nature of intimacy doesn't really fly with me.
Otherwise, that's manipulative, right? Like, if you try to play it in that way, and I don't want to downgrade they love with my larger problems. All I'm saying is this kind of as a PSA to the rest of y'all. You probably shouldn't do it this way. And once you get to a place where you start doing proposals and you'll love stuff in public, you're a half step away from being this guy. We got that guy?
What we got?
What guy? Oh, you don't want to be that guy. Is it a publicity stunt? I have no idea. Either way it goes, you don't want to be that guy. She don't want him to be the guy he is either.
That is Mr. Offset, by the way, if you're not familiar. And that is Miss Cardi B.
Yes, of Take Me Back Cardi in the background.
In front of the world, I love you. Whatever I gotta do to show you, bro.
I love you, bro.
Sorry, bro.
Yo, you don't want, this is the 21st century. All of this is so decidedly 21st century.
It is, because the other factor in all of this as we look at the Take Me Back cake that was majestically brought out.
And at the woman who does not want to be taken anywhere but off this stage right now by someone other than him.
It was uncomfortable, and the other 21st century aspect of this, Bo, is that Offset does have an album coming out, and so we must wonder how much of this is for love and how much of this is for business.
She need a new crew. No real friends are supposed to tackle him before he gets that far.
Security!
She got the same crew as Byron Douglas. That was his name. Coming up next, Cowboys got shut out.
Man, this is what I feel like when I wear regular shoes. Cramped and uncomfortable.
We can arrange a little upgrade.
Which is why I wear Skechers wide fit shoes. They have extra room throughout. They're like a luxury ride for my feet. Try Skechers wide fit shoes.
Once I started looking for car insurance, it was a no-brainer. I switched to Geico and saved hundreds. That's a win.
Marcus Peters had questions, all of which I believe are like totally fine, fair questions. He just wanted to know, where'd you come from and where may you be in the future?
Word for the day is G-check.
Yes. Today's number is 0. Because that is how many points the Cowboys scored yesterday, Bo. The first time they've been shut out since 2003. Last week we had Jason Garrett as a guy who would have a job next year, and Jerry Jones was a genius for getting Amari Cooper. So where are we now?
I mean, I still think that Jason Garrett's going to have a job because in order for them to not win that division, it feels like what it's going to take is that the Cowboys are going to have to lose out. The Eagles are going to have to win out because the Cowboys have the tiebreaker over them. I imagine Washington factors into this, but I ain't even bothered to go see what their record is. It's like, no, I think they're going to win that division. I think that it's going to wind up saving Jason Garrett's job. But that was not an encouraging or impressive performance that they put up there in this game. Dak Prescott, ooh, that didn't look so good.
Yeah, and Dak Prescott I have sympathy for because he has been sacked the most times in the NFL this side of Deshaun Watson. He's only one behind him. Sacks in the 50s, and yeah, their offensive line got banged up in this game, but you mentioned how the Colts ran through them. I mean, Marlon Mack, I did not know he could do that against the defense that shut down the Saints not so long ago.
Now, I will say this, though, about the sack total. Ooh, come on home, buddy. The thing I'll say about the sack total is the sack total is as much on the quarterback as it is on the offensive line. And this offensive line has had problems, but no, he does hold the ball a decent bit. But look, man, this is a team that is based around the idea that they have a not good defense, but a great defense. And in recent times, they have been a great defense, and they just need their offense to do a little. Even in this game, look, the Cowboys only gave up 23 points. They just got shut out. That squad oosh.
Yes, and we thought that once you get Amari Cooper, once you get the guy that Michael Irvin said would make the Cowboys royalty, that they would not get shut out. I mean, the floor on them was supposed to be a little higher than that. Isn't that fair to say?
Welcome to the NFL, man. Didn't we see the Rams do something like put up 6?
That is
or something
true.
like that the other day? Like, this is where we are. We saw what happened with the Saints against the Cowboys. Those other guys are also professionals. The thing is, we did not view Indianapolis as that sort of team. And look, they started slow. And remember, we wondered if Andrew Luck was finished.
Tiny
They've just been
footballs.
rolling ever since.
Andrew Luck was throwing tiny Nerf footballs, and now he is looking like a contender for some sort of valuable player award of some kind. But the good news if you are the Cowboys fan, right? Because I would say it's kind of terrible that you're just running along the treadmill of mediocrity. You know, you're going to get into the playoffs and then get wiped out immediately. The good news is that you're in a division where everybody is on that treadmill with you. Next year, we're going to have conversations about Eli Manning and Jason Garrett and Dak Prescott and everybody we did this year.
They want Eli Manning to play for them next year.
Oh, they do. In closing,
I would like to say happy birthday to Dan Le Batard, who turned 50 yesterday. Dan sweats a lot, but he's my guy, so I hugged him nonetheless.
this was a fun weekend, man. We went down there. Dan finally got the love and affection that he wanted from you for how many years?
I mean, 5 or 6. All he had to do was turn 50. I mean, milestone birthday, I'll give you a great gift. I'll jump on a plane and hug you.
People were chanting your name. Look at the affection of the highly questionable reunion that emerged, that was triggered by this.
Yeah, man. No, it worked out. It was a good moment. Happy birthday to Dan. He's been good to all of us.
Yes.
And kindness for the producers to crop out that sweat patch on his back that I thought was going to be in the picture, thereby, selling the thing I was talking about him sweating a lot.
It was incredibly sweaty.
Yeah, this is how I show affection.
But do I have time for my favorite moment from the Moss Miami Dan Le Batard birthday?
Yeah, guys, Pablo kind of sort of crowd surfed.
Yes!
This
the
happened.
Rainbow Coalition.
That is not a rainbow, buddy. And
It
this
is
Pablo.
the coalition.
Make sure I say, show me how many bars are on that rainbow. Yeah, this is Pablo. He didn't really